Tyreek Hill is walking into his fourth season with the Miami Dolphins, but the air around him feels different. Not the same way it felt when he first arrived, electrifying the entire fan base with his energy, his speed, his bravado. Not even the way it felt in 2023, when he was dominating defenses, and everyone was wondering if he could actually break records. This time it's something else, something heavier. For the first time since joining Miami, Hill will not be wearing the C on his jersey. The locker room, his own teammates, decided to move in another direction. And that says a lot more than the surface might suggest. It would be too easy to shrug it off as no big deal. Players lose the captain title all the time. Leadership changes hands, dynamics evolve. But with Tyreek, nothing is ever just a minor detail. His personality, his presence, his history in Miami make this shift a storyline you cannot ignore. He wasn't just another wide receiver in this franchise. He was a captain 3 straight years, one of the loudest voices on and off the field. Now suddenly he isn't. Why? What happened inside those walls that led players to say, "Not this season, not him"? If we rewind a little, the clues were already there. After the crushing end of last season, Hill didn't hide his frustration. He openly admitted he wanted out, that his competitive drive was too strong to settle for watching the playoffs from home. Those words cut through the fan base, and they surely echoed inside the locker room too. Even if he later walked those comments back, even if he came back this offseason saying he needs to be a better leader, that first statement sticks. It lingers. Once a teammate hears you say you might be done, trust takes a hit. Did that influence the vote? Did players see him as less committed, less dependable as the voice they wanted to follow? Mike McDaniel, of course, downplayed it. That's what coaches do. He talked about earning the role, about leadership being something you fight for every day, not something handed out automatically. His words sounded measured, maybe even protective of Hill. But at the same time, there was an edge. The clear message was that the locker room chose the leaders they believed in most. And for once, Hill wasn't in that group. That speaks volumes about where things stand. The truth is, Hill's 2024 season didn't help his case either. Numbers don't lie. And for someone who set the bar sky high the year before, last season was underwhelming. Just 959 yards. Only 6 touchdowns. For almost any other receiver in the league, those would still be solid stats. But for Tyreek, after a 2023 campaign of nearly 1,800 yards and 13 touchdowns, that's a fall that people noticed. The explosive plays weren't coming as often. The dominance wasn't the same. And then came the injuries. The oblique, the procedures on his wrist. The physical toll started showing. Suddenly, he wasn't the unstoppable force everyone expected every Sunday. Was that part of the shift too? Did teammates feel like they needed someone else to rally around, someone more consistently available? Still, Hill isn't going away quietly. He's not sitting back and letting this define his story. He has made it clear. Week 1 against the Colts, he'll be ready. He'll be on the field. He says he wants to prove himself again, to show his teammates he's still WR1, still one of them. That hunger, that fire, it's still there. But the real question is, will it be enough? Can words and determination erase doubts that piled up over the last year? Think about what this means inside the Dolphins locker room. Being captain is not just about speeches before the game or standing in front of cameras. It's about trust. It's about who the players believe represents them. Losing that title might sting Hill more than he admits. He thrives on respect, on being the centerpiece. Without it, he'll need to carve out a new way of leading, or risk fading into the background in ways no one imagined when he first landed in Miami. Another layer in all this is how the offense looks moving forward. Tua still leans heavily on Hill. Defenses still treat him like a nightmare matchup. The connection is still there, but now there's added pressure. If Hill wants to reclaim not just his numbers, but also his status, he can't afford another average year by his standards. Can his body hold up? Can he recover that burst, that gear that leaves defenders helpless? Because if he can't, the perception of him changes fast. The injury cloud is real. Oblique issues don't just disappear, and wrist procedures, no matter how small, matter for someone whose job depends on catching footballs in traffic. Hill might say he's ready. McDaniel might confirm his availability. But the test comes the moment he takes a hit, the moment he has to extend for a contested grab. Every fan, every teammate, every coach will be holding their breath the first time that happens. Will he pop back up? Will he look like himself? Or will doubts grow louder? And then there's the bigger picture. Hill is no longer the new guy. He's not the flashy arrival that lit up South Florida. He's a veteran now, in his 30s, with mileage on his legs and the reality of time creeping in. The Dolphins roster has changed around him. Young players are stepping up. Voices in the locker room are shifting. How does Hill fit into that? Does he reinvent himself as a different kind of leader, quieter but steady? Or does he keep pushing to be the center of attention? The vote suggests the team may prefer the first version. But Hill has never been someone who blends into the background. What makes this season fascinating is the contrast. On one side, you have a player who has already proven himself as one of the best in the league, someone who has transformed Miami's offense since arriving. On the other, you have a locker room, signaling it might be ready to move forward without leaning on him the same way. Those two realities are colliding in 2025. Which one wins out? Hill says he didn't expect to be a captain this year, but is that really the full truth? Deep down, how could a competitor like him not feel the sting of being overlooked by his peers? That moment when the votes are counted, when the names are read, where his isn't among them, it must have cut deep. How does that fuel him? Does it push him to respond with a monster season? Or does it create tension, a gap between him and the rest of the team that grows over time? The Dolphins need him at his best. That much is obvious. Tua needs him. McDaniel needs him. The entire offense needs him. A fully healthy, fully engaged Tyreek Hill is the kind of weapon who changes everything. Defenses can't cheat. They can't relax. They can't ignore him. But the Dolphins also need stability. They need leaders who won't waver when the season gets tough, who won't send mixed signals about their future. Hill has to prove he can be that guy, even without the captain patch. Look at the timing. Week 1 against the Colts isn't just any opener. It's the chance to reset the narrative immediately. Imagine Hill stepping on that field, shaking off the doubts, exploding for a big play. The story changes in an instant. The questions quiet down. The locker room feels a spark again. But if the opposite happens, if he looks tentative, if the numbers aren't there, the whispers grow. And once those whispers start in the NFL, they rarely go away.